to talk about, I think a lot of times people get our industry, misunderstood, right? Because people come in, I don't know how, right? But a lot of people come in expecting to be good at something right away. That doesn't happen, right? Like, that's not how life works. I don't know anything that is really competitive and really rewarding that people become good at in one day. If you know, let me know, right? But it just doesn't work out that way. So that means one of the things that it takes to be really good in our industry is first patience, right? You have to be patient, urgent with the action, patient with the results. I want you guys to write that down. Right? Urgent with the action, patient with the results. The results will come. They will come. It owes you one. Why does the result owe you one? Because you did the right thing. And if you keep doing the right thing enough times, you become successful. So be urgent with the action and patient with the results. The next thing is having a solid foundation, right? There's a building called the Millennium Tower. Does anyone know what that is?
No.
Right? It is a really, really expensive infrastructure, right? This was, I believe it was in Chicago. Well, it was in Chicago. Every, every unit in this high rise, the lowest ones that people buy them cost 1.3 million. That's the cheapest one, right? So you can imagine what types of people live here. People that have a lot of money, and are very important people. So a lot of them, people moved there. They built this thing. It was supposed to be the best building in the best, I guess, high rise in the country, right? Before it was fully constructed, like a year before, it was sold out, right? So a lot of people just bought it because it's like, hey, even if I don't want to live there, I can just sell it to somebody else for a little bit more, right? And then I'm gonna speed up the story. But long story short, what happened is the engineers and the architects that constructed this building built it on a very poor foundation. People didn't know for a long time. Mind you, this building, just to build it, cost about $23 billion. A lot of money, right? But they'll make their money back. If every unit in there costs 1.3 or more, they'll make their money back pretty soon. But they did that. And then there was this guy who, I think something fell. And then it like rolled in a direction. Remember the types of people that live there. People who know what they're doing. So this guy's an architect. He's like, well, what the heck is going on? So he's like, maybe there's a fluke. So he did it again. And it rolled in the same direction. Then there came the speculations. The foundation might be faulty. I think the building's leaning a little bit. Right? And they started digging more. And they realized that the people who built this built it on sand. Right? Sand. The foundation was very sandy, so it was not sturdy. So they have to. Obviously, when people find out, what do you think happened? People moved out. People started suing. Once again, people who make a lot of money, they know a lot of really good lawyers. So you were not winning that battle, right? So everyone moved out, so they lost a lot of money on that. And then they got sued. They lost a lot of money on that. But thirdly, they had to deconstruct the whole thing to attempt to rebuild it. But even if you do that, guess what people have now? Trust problem. They're like, I don't know if I want to go. Think about it, right? Like, would you be like, all right, I'm back in there? Like, no, you're like, whoa. I'm not about to let that happen again. Let's let some other people go live there first, see how it turns out, and maybe I'll go there, right? So, like, for something that could have been so preventable, right? But they try to rush the foundation, and what happened to a $23 billion building? It collapsed. Not physically collapsed, but structurally, economically, everything, it collapsed. Because they were very impatient with the foundation of such a beautiful building. Right? And the reason I say that is we have to make sure our foundation is strong. Yes, I know the goal here is we're going to train you to make sure you make as much money as you can possibly make. Right? But more than I want you to just make money temporarily, I want you to have a skill set. Because if you have a skill set, you can generate money no matter what part of the country you're in. If you only know how to work on Spectrum, then you're cornered. Then when Spectrum starts, let's say something happened with Spectrum and it's not going well, then you're stuck. But because you developed a skill set, if Spectrum says, we don't know right now about Atlanta, we're going to say, great, let's bring in the next client that wants to work with us. And that doesn't work, bring in the next client that wants to work with us. But more importantly, when you learn this foundation, you're very solid in your foundation, you can teach that to somebody else, which is how you grow in our company. You learn something really well, and you teach other people to do that. Then you learn that thing really well, and you teach somebody else how to do that. And then by you doing that, you move up and up and up. Which is why we say in our industry, you don't step on people to get to the top, you get carried to the top. Right? And you get carried by the people that you train. You helped them accomplish their goals, so therefore they want to see you succeed. Right, but all of that starts with making sure you have a solid foundation in the things that you do, which is why it pays to pay attention to the detail. So when we do this and we do this, it looks silly, but it makes sense. We wouldn't do it because we wouldn't just make you do it just because it's annoying. If it didn't have any value, we wouldn't have you do it. So it looks silly, but it makes a difference. It looks silly, but if you don't do it, people don't stop. Then you don't get to do your job well. Then you're not getting better, all because you're afraid to get out of your comfort zone and learn the very basics that's going to help you get as good as you need to possibly get. Does that make sense? Right, so let's really focus on the foundation today. Let's have some urgency. Urgency doesn't mean that we only talk to 20 people and then hit our goals. Don't expect to do that because that's how you're going to get frustrated. It means I'm going to talk to the same amount of people. I'm just going to move really fast so I can hit my goals faster. That way I can come back, right? And then we'll do it again. The first car ride to get back, if you're done before 3 o'clock, you get $100 for the car ride.
That's
cool?
awesome.
What time is it?
Showtime! Regardless!